Hey guys, sorry I'm not here today. I put together a screencast that I want you guys to watch. It'll give you the directions and explanations of what we are doing today in class. Okay, so first thing, start off answering your journal question. I want you to answer, what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic exercise? What are some examples of each? And how can a game of soccer be both aerobic and anaerobic? If you're not sure how to answer these questions, go back to slide 16, watch the video, read the notes at the bottom, and you should be able to answer these questions. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to do several things. You should have calculated your resting heart rate, calculated your maximum heart rate, your target heart rate zone, and calculated your VO2 max using your resting heart rate 1 mile walk and the 3 mile step test. Okay, so I just threw a new term out to you guys, VO2 max. All right. The body's ability to utilize its available oxygen determines our aerobic capacity. The hearts and lungs have to be able to distribute enough oxygen to the muscles to sustain activity. We learned before that as the intensity of an activity increases, so does our oxygen consumption. However, at a certain point, the intensity of the workout can continue to increase, but our body is unable to increase its amount of oxygen intake, so our oxygen consumption plateaus. We call this point our VO2 max. The most accurate way to measure your VO2 max is to go into a science lab, run on a treadmill. They hook you up with an oxygen breathing mask, and they're literally measuring the amount of oxygen that you're breathing in and out. We don't have those types of facilities, so we're going to be doing a couple different activities there today to measure our VO2 max. But really what we're looking at is we're trying to find out what is the difference between the amount of oxygen we're breathing in and the amount that we breathe out. All right, that difference indicates how much oxygen our body is using. So if we breathe in 100 milliliters of oxygen, what is the amount that we're breathing out? That difference is going to be the amount of oxygen that is transported through our muscles or through our blood, our circulatory system to our muscles to create energy to sustain our activity. So today we're going to be taking some estimates of what we think our VO2 max is, okay? We're going to do those through 3 different tests. We're going to do the resting heart rate test, the 1 mile walk test, and the Harvard step test. The first thing that we need to do is we need to measure our heart rate, all right? Remember, we can find our pulse in 2 locations, our carotid artery and our radial artery, okay? So we want to get an accurate resting heart rate. You know, typically the best time to take it is in the morning. But today, have your body sit at rest for about 5 minutes. So once you've finished watching this video, that would be a good time for you to measure your resting heart rate. Okay, so remember, you want to find your pulse, and you're going to count the number of beats that you feel in 10 seconds. You'll times that number by 6 to get to 60 seconds, and that's your heart rate. So the number of times that your heart has beat in a minute. Once you have your resting heart rate, now you can calculate your target heart rate zone. Those of you guys who had me last year, we did this in PE class, okay? So the first thing you need to find is your maximum heart rate right here. That's 220 minus your age. So for most of you guys, it's going to be 220 minus 15, which would be 205. From that, we're going to come down to this calculation right here, and we're going to find our target heart rate zone. So this is going to be 2 numerical values. We want to be in this numerical zone, okay, to improve our aerobic capacity, which is our body's ability to convert oxygen into energy. So the first step is to take your maximum heart rate, 220 minus your age, subtract that from your resting heart rate, RHR. This gives you a variable N. You're going to use that variable N to get 60% and 80% of your target heart rate zone. So N times 0.6 plus your resting heart rate equals your lower target heart rate zone. N times 0.8 plus our resting heart rate equals the higher end of your target heart rate zone. So now that we know our resting heart rate, we can calculate our first VO2 max, okay? We're looking over here at this formula right here. 15.3 times your maximum heart rate divided by your resting heart rate. Easy, right? Okay, the second activity you're going to do is you're going to do a 1 mile walk test. You're going to walk 6 laps around the track. Your pace should be brisk and result in an elevated heart rate. So how do you know if you're walking at a brisk pace? Okay, if you're carrying on a conversation really easily, you're probably not walking fast enough. Okay, I know it's tempting to walk with your friends, but remember, each of you guys has a different meaning of like brisk, okay? Because you guys are your own unique individuals. Remember, we talk about this a lot, yeah. So once you finish your 6 laps, you're going to go over to the clock by the water fountains and count the number of heartbeats you have in 10 seconds. It's really important, you guys, that you do 10 seconds. If you don't, it's going to mess up your calculations. Once you have this data, okay, then we're going to go down here and we're going to plug it into this equation. And you guys can do this at the end of class, or you can do it as homework. It's part of your assessment. So some things that you're going to need to know are these variables right here. You're going to need to know your weight in pounds. Okay, 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds, if that helps you out. Your age in years. All right, gender factor. So girls, you guys are going to plug a 0 into this equation. Males, you're going to plug a 1. And the time to complete the 1 mile walk in minutes. Okay, so what if you finish the mile walk in 16 minutes and 30 seconds? Okay, that would actually be 16.5. All right, so make sure you convert those seconds into a decimal. And then the last variable is H, the number of heartbeats in 10 seconds at the end of the 1 mile walk. If you get your heart rate in 1 minute and you plug that into this equation, it's really going to mess up your results. So make sure you only count it for 10 seconds. Okay, so the last way we're going to measure our VO2 max is we're going to do the Harvard step test, all right? So grab one of those long benches from the gym and pull it into the lobby of the athletic building. You guys don't have to use it in the gym, that's fine. Get a speaker, and you guys are going to play the 3-minute step test. If you click on this little link right here, there's the hyperlink to it, all right? And you're just going to follow that cadence of stepping up and down on the bench for 3 consecutive minutes. Don't stop. It's really important that no matter how tired you get, that you continue to step up and down following the cadence. All right. Once you're done, immediately measure your pulse for 15 seconds. Okay. There's a clock on the wall in the lobby. Multiply the number of beats that you get by 4 to get your pulse rate. All right. And then you're going to use the formula in the notes section to calculate your VO2. So looking at the notes section, there's another link to the step test, okay? And then there's the VO2 max formula. For guys, you're going 111.33 minus 0.42 times your pulse rate beats per minute, okay? So don't do it in the number of beats that you have by 15 seconds. You got to times it by 4. Women, you guys have a slightly different formula, okay, but it's still the number of beats that you have in 1 minute times that. Don't forget to times the 15 by 4 to get to a minute. Okay, so what goes in your journal today? Don't forget, you guys had your journal question that had to do with what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic activity. In the notes section, you should put the data from your 3 different tests. What's your resting heart rate? What's your what was your VO2 max based upon your resting heart rate, your VO2 max based upon the 1 mile walk test, and your VO2 max based upon the Harvard step test. And then if you have any questions, anything that you want me to answer when I come back, drop a question in the question box. So one last thing before I'm going to let you guys go, I wanted to kind of connect this with the assessment and let you guys know why this is important. So I'm going to post your guys' assessment on Google Classroom. There's a section in here where it asks for your resting heart rate, your maximum heart rate, and your target heart rate zone. We learned how to calculate that today, so you guys can plug those in, and you can go in and you can do the summary response. What happens to our oxygen consumption and heart rate as we approach our maximum heart rate? What variables can we change to avoid reaching our maximum heart rate and fatiguing too early in the workout? We're going to skip that section. That's going to come at a later date. But then there's this section on VO2 max. So it's wanting to know what is your VO2 max for each of the 3 tests. Okay, and there's also a picture for you guys to go in and see where your VO2 max falls and if you are healthy or not. Okay, so take a minute to look at that once you're done. And then there's a couple questions that you need to answer. regarding the results of your VO2 max. So hopefully you guys have a great lesson today. I'm really confident that you guys are going to watch this video and you're going to get the things done that you need to. Please remember, you guys, I'm not going to give you any more classroom time to do this, so it's really important that you get it done. All right, looking forward to seeing you guys when I am back on Tuesday. Have a great lesson.